Chapter 61 changed my mind. Be despised forever. You are listening at novelfull.audio. God Almighty, this beast has offended you before. Xuanhuan, the ancient ancestor, watched Xuanzhao crumble, showing no pity. He turned to Kong Wudao. Want me to take him out for you? Put this menace down for good. That the Chaos Holy Land had lost all hope in Xuanzhao. He was worthless, a pariah they couldn't wait to be rid of. No need. I have plans for him. He wasn't done draining destiny points. Having someone else kill him would be a waste. Besides, even a runt chaos body like his was valuable. Moments later, after using a special ritual to brand all the top brass of Chaos Holy Land with slave marks, Kong Wudao nodded. Looks like we can call it even. With a wave of his hand, he retrieved the Emperor's decree that floated above Chaos Holy Land, creating a divine seal. As the great Emperor's immense pressure lifted, so did the cloud hanging over everyone's heads. Thank you, Lord Son of God, for your mercy. We pledge everything to you, forever and always. The people of Chaos Holy Land bowed again, overjoyed to have survived. Thank you, Son of God, for your incredible kindness. Emperor Huntian sighed in relief and bowed respectfully to Kong Wudao. Without hesitation, he waved his hand, and a divine light flashed deep within Chaos Holy Land. A token, radiating endless divine glory and saturated with chaotic energy, emerged and floated into Kong Wudao's hand. This is the Chaos Token. Keep it, Lord Son of God. Whoever holds this token commands Chaos Holy Land. They can deploy our armies, and no one will dare disobey. Emperor Huntian wasn't resentful. He was almost grateful. Surrendering to Kong Wudao meant gaining the backing of the time and space forbidden zone. Chaos Holy Land had fallen far, lacking even a powerful emperor. With the time and space forbidden zone's help, they could restore Chaos Holy Land to its former glory for generations to come. Ignoring the flatteries of the Chaos Holy Land monks, Kong Wudao stared coldly at Xuanzhao. What to do with this guy? Xuanzhao had potential. During their battle, he'd broken past his physical limitations, evolving his chaos body from basic to intermediate level. Extracting his chaos body bloodline would only cripple him. It would revert to its basic level. At best, taming him, turning him into his personal attack dog, would be far more valuable. He wondered what would happen if he successfully broke this chosen one, who might be protected by fate itself. If he couldn't be tamed, no sweat. He could always hunt him down and extract his chaos body later. Xuanzhao was basically a walking, talking resource, there for the taking. Having decided, Kong Wudao appeared before Xuanzhao before he could react. He placed his hand directly on Xuanzhao's crown. Boom. Starred at a terrifying power surged from his palm, instantly invading Xuanzhao's soul. Kong Wudao, what are you doing? Xuanzhao roared in agony, his soul writhing in pain, but against Kong Wudao's power, resistance was futile. Just release your soul and let me brand you. It'll save you a lot of pain. Xuanzhao was taken aback, then filled with shame and rage. You want me to be your dog? You're dreaming. How could he, the owner of the mighty chaos body, a genius among geniuses, become a dog whose life hung by someone else's thread? You overestimate yourself. Kong Wudao ignored him, intensifying his attack, ruthlessly tearing apart Xuanzhao's soul. If he shattered Xuanzhao's soul and turned him into an idiot, so be it. He'd just hunt him down and extract his chaos blood. Arg. Under Kong Wudao's terrifying power, Xuanzhao felt his soul ripped to shreds, plunging him into an endless abyss of pain. Kong Wudao really didn't care if he lived or died. If this continued, his soul would be torn apart, and he'd be ruined. Xuanzhao felt despair. This was his territory, Chaos Holy Land. He was the most celebrated holy son. And now, he was suffering this torment, and no one would speak up for him. He regretted it. He regretted his arrogance, his decision to confront Kong Wudao. He regretted his youthful folly, his defiance of Kong Wudao. I surrender. But before Xuanzhao could finish, Kong Wudao changed his mind. I've reconsidered. You're not that useful to me. So, farewell. Kong Wudao smiled, and the power in his hand intensified, instantly shattering Xuanzhao's soul. He already had a better candidate to tame. He didn't need Yun Xiao, better to destroy his soul and preserve his body. He'd use a special ritual to turn Yun Xiao's body into his personal puppet. Puppets were more obedient than sentient beings, weren't they? Before Yun Xiao could finish, his soul was gone, his consciousness extinguished. Ding! Congratulations, Master, for successfully killing the hero of destiny, Yun Xiao, and successfully erasing his soul, and obtained the remaining 1,500 destiny points. Congratulations to the Master for successfully triggering a double critical hit and gaining 3,000 destiny points. Congratulations to the owner for successfully obtaining Chaos Avenue Fragments *2000, Halberd Avenue Fragments *1500, Thunder Avenue Fragments *1600. The system detects that the Master wants to refine Yun Xiao's body into his own puppet and again rewards the Master with the source of the soul, the Chaos Sutra, to help create a perfect puppet for the Master. The system's announcement surprised him. You sneaky little upgrade, huh? When did you become so useful? It is our honor to alleviate our Master's concerns. Master, fly with peace of mind, and we will always be with you. After stowing Yun Xiao's body and the Chaos Token, Kong Wudao didn't linger. He mounted the Apocalypsed Sanglong and left Chaos Holy Land. The cloud of despair may have lifted, but the fear of Kong Wudao lingered. At least Chaos Holy Land hadn't been destroyed. Before his projection faded, Emperor Huntian sighed and commanded his ancestors and disciples, spread the word. From now on, Chaos Holy Land will follow the guidance of the Son of God and the Time and Space Forbidden Zone. Having surrendered to Kong Wudao, they had to demonstrate their loyalty. As for the two sinners, Yun Xiao and Kai Tian, they are never to be mentioned again. Disobey this, and face immediate execution. That the remaining two ancestors of Chaos Holy Land nodded in agreement. Even though Kai Tian Supreme and Yun Xiao were dead, they still held some resentment. If those two idiots hadn't provoked the Son of God, Chaos Holy Land wouldn't have suffered this disaster. Good riddance. They deserve to rot in hell. Chapter 62 Zixiao Sect. I hope it will be more interesting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shortly after, the word spread like wildfire across the Beixian Dao domain. The Chaos Holy Land had surrendered to Kong Wudao and become an affiliated force within the time and space restricted area. The news created a massive buzz, even reaching surrounding Dao realms. Kong Wudao. Isn't he that hotshot from the time and space restricted area? The Chaos Holy Land actually bent the knee to him. Rumor has it that Kong Wudao rolled into the Chaos Holy Land not long ago and, for reasons unknown, whipped out an emperor's decree right there. Even the Holy Land's ancient elders had to bow their heads. An emperor's decree? That's something only a 7th-grade mortal emperor can conjure, right? Did the time and space restricted area really break out the big guns? Damn. I'm thinking the time and space restricted area is way stronger than anyone's letting on. They must still have deep roots, but plenty of old-school power players scoffed at the news. Bah. A measly 7th-grade Hongqian emperor. Big deal. My sects churned out at least 2 6th-grade mortal emperors over the ages. Not to mention all the other ancient powers, some even had the Emperor Tianming. The time and space restricted area thinking they can still throw their weight around. Dream on. That while the news caused a ripple of excitement, it wasn't exactly earth-shattering. The heavens and realms are vast, and the power runs deep. Sure, great emperors are rare, but it's not like they're unicorns. Over at Samsara Taoism, Chu Yunshi, reborn and all, naturally kept a close eye on Kong Wudao's movements. She was among the first to hear about the shakeup at the Chaos Holy Land. Too bad. Rebirth came at a price. I've lost most of my memories from my past life. I can barely remember the biggest events. Kong Wudao's always been unpredictable. If I want to get in his good graces, I need to show him what I'm worth. Even though she's a 9th-grade emperor and the ancient ancestor of the Samsara Dao sect, if Kong Wudao decided to take her out, it'd be as easy as snapping his fingers. Meanwhile, soaring through the sky on his apocalypsed Sanglong, Kong Wudao had no intention of heading back to the time and space restricted area after taking care of the Chaos Holy Land. After all, There was still a destiny heroine hanging around in Beixian Dao domain that needed his attention, Yi Chen and Yun Zhao's pal, Lu Qingqing, from the Zixiao Sect. The Zixiao Sect, they're the real deal in the Beixian Dao domain right now. They only outrank the Chaos Holy Land by a hair. They've got 2 ancient ancestors chilling at the 9th level of the Supreme Realm. But Kong Wudao didn't sweat it, even the powerful ancient emperors didn't bother the time and space restricted area, 2 Supreme Realm experts. Small potatoes. Change of plans. We're heading to Zixiao Sect. Kong Wudao gave the order, and riding Tianshan, the crew turned towards Zixiao Sect. Here's hoping this new destiny heroine puts up more of a fight than Yun Xiao and Yi Chen. It'd be a drag if I just steamroll her. Zixiao Sect sits on the Beihai continent, nestled in the northwest corner of the Beixian Dao domain, amidst endless, towering, mist-shrouded mountains. Countless ornate buildings and majestic palaces rise proudly. The central square of Zixiao Sect was packed with people today, buzzing with energy. Even the bigwigs of the Zixiao Sect, decked out in fancy clothes and radiating power, were gathered. And at the center of the crowd stood hundreds of gifted young cultivators, radiating potential. These were the best of the best, chosen through intense Zixiao Sect competitions and rigorous selections. Once everyone was assembled, the leader of the Zixiao Sect boomed, 1,000 years have passed, and the Zixiao secret realm, which my Zixiao Sect has guarded for eons, opens fully today. Within the Zixiao secret realm lie countless opportunities, even inheritances left behind by our Zixiao Sect ancestors. Don't let this chance slip through your fingers, that the Zixiao secret realm is the heart and soul of Zixiao Sect. Legend has it that the former Emperor Zixiao himself entered the secret realm before passing, leaving behind his own legacy. Now, after 1,000 years, the prophesied day had arrived. If these young geniuses could claim the inheritance of their ancestors, the Zixiao Sect would rise to new heights. I can't believe we get to step foot inside the Zixiao secret realm. If we can snag an ancestral inheritance, our path will be paved with gold. Ha ha ha. Wang Defa will make the Wang family proud. I'll grab that godless throne. But amidst the excitement, one stunning woman stood out. With a cool demeanor, wearing a plain Xuanhuan dress, she bit her lip, clearly troubled. It was Lu Qingqing, friend to Yi Chen and Yun Xiao, and daughter of the leader of the Zixiao clan. Not only was she gorgeous, but she was also considered the most talented prodigy in the entire Zixiao Sect. Clutched in Lu Qingqing's hand were 2 broken jade stones. They were Tongxin sapphires, used to leave a piece of one's essence within. If the person holding the other half died, the sapphire would break. Why would Brother Yi Chen and Brother Yun Xiao's Tongxin sapphires break, one after the other? Lu Qingqing's face paled. She had met these 2 while traveling and had struck up a friendship with them. Both were talented and powerful, true geniuses among geniuses, especially Yun Xiao. He was from her realm and a top-tier saint from the Chaos Holy Land, with talent that far outstripped Yi Chen. He was also the person she'd gotten closest to. If their relationship continued to blossom, they could become important partners. But now, the Tongxin sapphire Yun Xiao had given her had shattered. What could have happened? Suddenly, Lu Qingqing seemed to grasp something, and her eyes flashed. Not long ago, some powerful force seemed to have arrived in the Chaos Holy Land. I heard from my father, it was from the time and space restricted area. Could it be? Lu Qingqing shook her head, her expression changing. Impossible. Yun Xiao never offended the time and space restricted area. Why would they have any reason to kill him? That she quickly dismissed the thought, but if it wasn't the time and space restricted area, why else would Yun Xiao's sapphire break at that time? Chapter 63, The Son of God has arrived. Why don't you come quickly and bow down to greet him? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as her mind was reeling, a voice, both refined and affectionate, broke through her thoughts. Qingqing, what's with the long face? Hearing this, Lu Qingqing looked up. It was her father, Lu Wuya, leader of the Zixiao Sect. Greetings, sect leader. Elders and disciples of the Zixiao Sect bowed in unison. Today's the day you enter the Zixiao secret realm. Weren't you excited about it? Lu Wuya ignored the others, reached out, and gently stroked Lu Qingqing's head. Why so glum? Slightly annoyed, Lu Qingqing brushed his hand away. Dad, I'm not a kid anymore. Stop ruffling my hair. Without waiting for a response, she pressed on, can you tell me what happened at the Chaos Holy Land? Who are these people from the restricted space-time zone, and what have they done? Lu Wuya's smile vanished, replaced by an unnatural look. While the Zixiao Sect was currently stronger than the declining Chaos Holy Land, it was nothing more than a bigger ant compared to the restricted space-time zone. Rumor had it that the one who'd arrived in the Beixian Dao domain was likely the legendary god Sun from that zone. Just as Lu Wuya searched for a way to deflect the questions, a panicked voice shattered the air. Sect leader, a guard, looking utterly terrified, stumbled to a landing near Lu Wuya, finally collapsing at his feet, fear causing him to crawl the last few feet. Frowning, Lu Wuya asked, what's going on? You're a disciple of the Zixiao Sect. Get a grip. Is the sky falling? Gasping, the guard swallowed hard, struggling to control his breathing. The breath detection array, it's going crazy. Multiple, incredibly powerful auras are approaching our territory. He stuttered, possible invasion. What? Lu Wuya and the elders were visibly shaken. The breath detection array was a special system used by the Zixiao Sect to detect any changes within its territory. Unusual readings meant that someone was entering without permission. In the current Beixian Dao domain, the Zixiao Sect was a force to be reckoned with. Who would dare to barge in unannounced like this? Such audacity. Humph. Of all days, these lunatics choose today to ruin our celebration. They're asking for it. An imposing elder stepped forward, bowing to Lu Wuya. Sect leader, allow me to lead a team to apprehend these arrogant fools. This was the great elder of the inner sect, a god-king level cultivator. Not the strongest, but a pillar of strength nonetheless. Besides, this was their turf. Even a holy lord wouldn't stand a chance. Lu Wuya nodded. Very well. You will lead the team to capture. He was cut off by a booming, divine voice that reverberated through the heavens, piercing their protective formation and landing like a hammer blow in the hearts of every Zixiao Sect member. I, the son of Wu Dao god from the restricted space-time zone, have come to visit the Zixiao Sect. Why hasn't anyone come out to greet me with proper respect? Boom, star, the voice, like a bolt from the blue, echoed in their minds, leaving the entire Zixiao Sect in stunned silence. As they snapped out of their daze, a wave of icy dread washed over them, chilling them to the bone. The restricted space-time zone. The son of Wu Dao god? The faces of the Zixiao Sect members turned ashen. Thud, star, the elder who'd so confidently volunteered to capture the arrogant fools collapsed to the ground, his face deathly white. He had just called the son of God from the restricted space-time zone an arrogant fool. The more he thought about it, the more he trembled, his very soul threatening to flee his body. He remembered the Emperor's decree that had descended upon the Chaos Holy Land. Now, hearing about the Son of God, he had no doubt that this decree was summoned by him. And he had just spoken of the other party in such a way. If the Son of God heard about it, he would die a dog's death. Overcome with panic, the elder's eyes rolled back, and he fainted, but his collapse went largely unnoticed. Many others were in the same state, their faces pale with terror. Some, especially the younger disciples, even fell to their knees alongside him. Lu Wuya, finally reacting, kicked the messenger disciple. You idiot! Are you blind? Losing all semblance of composure, Lu Wuya screamed at the guard, you couldn't even recognize the big shots from the restricted space-time zone. You called that a foreign invasion? I'll flay you alive when I get back. After his outburst, Lu Wuya wasted no time. Along with the other high-ranking members of the Zixiao Sect, he hurried toward the sect's entrance. Everyone in the Beixian Dao domain had witnessed the Emperor's decree. If they disrespected the Son of God, the Zixiao Sect would be wiped off the map. With the leaders gone, the most talented members of the Zixiao Sect began to recover from their shock. The son of Wu Dao god from the restricted space-time zone. The one from the space-time restricted area that was specifically announced to all the heavens and realms some time ago, that while the geniuses whispered among themselves, Lu Qingqing shook off her daze. The Son of God from the space-time forbidden zone, Kong Wudao, that she had a gut feeling that Yun Zhao's death was somehow connected to him. Gritting her teeth, Lu Qingqing transformed into a streak of light, flying towards the Zixiao Sect's entrance. The Zixiao Sect's geniuses, their curiosity overwhelming their fear, couldn't resist following her. As for the opening ceremony of the Zixiao secret realm, an event that only happened once every 1,000 years. The Zixiao Sect had no intention of proceeding, nor the courage to do so. Offending Kong Wudao through such negligence would be their doom. Chapter 64 Enlightenment of the Holy Body, Dreaming of Entering the Tao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the Zixiao Sect, a storm raged as beams of light tore through the sky, landing just outside the sect's protective barrier. Their arrival radiated such intense power that the barrier itself trembled, threatening to collapse. The Zixiao Sect guards, already familiar with Kong Wudao's reputation, immediately dropped their weapons and bowed deeply. Greetings, and congratulations to the arrival of the Son of God, Wu Dao. Almost instantly, several more beams of light descended, landing near Kong Wudao. Lu Wuya immediately recognized Kong Wudao as the leader from the restricted time and space zone. Seeing the otherworldly aura surrounding him, he knew exactly who he was. Lu Wuya and the other Zixiao Sect elders wasted no time in bowing respectfully. I, Lu Wuya, sect leader of Zixiao, along with the elders, welcome the Son of God, Wu Dao. We were unaware of your impending arrival and apologize for any perceived slight. Rumor had it that the Son of God from the restricted zone was notoriously unpredictable. The fact that Zixiao Sect hadn't greeted him in advance was truly frightening. While it said, "Don't visit unless invited," he wouldn't dare even suggest the other party adhere to such etiquette. After all, proper conduct is based on equal footing. To the restricted zone, Zixiao Sect was likely seen as pathetically weak. With someone like Kong Wudao being so far above them, the need to show them courtesy was non-existent. Meanwhile, a group of Zixiao Sect prodigies, unable to contain their curiosity, secretly trailed behind the elders. Hiding behind the mountain gate, they peeked at Kong Wudao. Even from a distance, they felt their hearts pounding from his terrifying aura. That's Kong Wudao, the Son of God from the restricted zone, standing on the white dragon. What's his level? How can I feel so intimidated by his aura, even from this distance? Wasn't Kong Wudao in the Chaos Holy Land? Why is he here at Zixiao Sect? The Zixiao Sect geniuses were on edge. Everyone in the Beixian Dao domain had witnessed Kong Wudao's decree above the Chaos Holy Land. Shortly after, the Chaos Holy Land completely surrendered to him. Now, he was here, unannounced. Could he be planning to force them into submission as well? Amidst the hushed discussions, Lu Qingqing clenched her jaw, her eyes fixed on Kong Wudao. Even from afar, she recognized a familiar aura, Yun Xiao's aura. A terrible feeling washed over her. She feared that Yun Xiao had met with foul play at the hands of Kong Wudao. Lu Wuya respectfully asked Kong Wudao, Son of God, is there anything Zixiao Sect can do for you? As the sect leader, Lu Wuya knew there had to be a reason someone of Kong Wudao's stature would appear uninvited. Kong Wudao paused, a light smile playing on his lips. It's nothing serious. I'm just here to see someone named Lu Qingqing. Lu Wuya's smile froze. Lu Qingqing. His daughter. What did Kong Wudao want with her? He had always been overprotective of Lu Qingqing, sheltering her from harm. She had never even left the Beixian Dao domain. How did Kong Wudao know her name? Before he could figure it out, a cold voice echoed, It's Qingqing's honor to be known by the Son of God, Wu Dao. Ding. Destiny's chosen heroine has appeared. Everything is marked, Master, please have a look. Another beam of light descended, landing swiftly in front of Kong Wudao. As the light dissipated, a graceful figure emerged. The woman wore a neon gauze dress, her skin was like cream, and her beauty matched the name Qingqing perfectly. Qingqing. How did you? Lu Wuya was flustered by his daughter's sudden appearance. He couldn't understand why she would appear on her own. If Kong Wudao took a liking to her, what choice would he have as a father? Unlike her father, who was spiraling with thoughts. Lu Qingqing felt an invisible, terrifying pressure emanating from Kong Wudao, making her hair stand on end. But, she did her best to control her emotions, revealing no fear. She needed to know if Yun Xiao, the person she admired and her best friend, had fallen victim to Kong's cruelty. Kong Wudao ignored her probing gaze and checked the information displayed above her head. Name, Lu Qingqing. Identity, Destiny's chosen heroine, daughter of Zixiao Sect leader. Realm, 8th level of Dao Palace. Physique, holy body of enlightenment. Mutation, peeping, awakened unique magical power. Enlightenment. Into dreams. Kung Fu, Zixiao Heart Sutra, Tianshan sword technique, Xuanhuan holy skill. Destiny points, 7,000. Potential avenue fragments, fragments of the avenue of swords, fragments of the avenue of water, fragments of the avenue of illusion. A mutated holy body of enlightenment. She had awakened the unprecedented ability of enlightenment into dreams. Kong Wudao knew something about the holy body of enlightenment. According to ancient texts, it was born to understand the great ways of the heavens and earth. Those who awakened it could connect with them more easily. While not as powerful as the chaos body, it had a unique ability called enlightenment into dreams. Those who awakened this holy body had a chance of entering a dream state during meditation. If lucky, they might even receive guidance from an emperor in this dream. Chapter 65, Killed in the Cradle, Horrific Results. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A person's true strength comes from their physical constitution. Achieving enlightenment of the holy body is all about luck. If you're lucky, the potential is unlimited. If you're really lucky, you might get teachings from some legendary emperors in your dreams and your life will really take off. The Zixiao Sect has continued to prosper, even seeming to be on the rise, thanks to Lu Qingqing's magic. In recent years, she was fortunate enough to receive instruction from an emperor in her dreams. Gaining half a volume of the emperor's scriptures, which greatly benefited the Zixiao Sect. Such magic might seem amazing to ordinary folks, but from Kong Wudao's perspective, it was pretty useless. His time-space restricted zone was filled with libraries, so such things weren't special to him. The great emperor's scriptures might be considered a treasure by a trash sect like Zixiao, but to him, in the time-space restricted zone, it was no different than scrap paper. Meanwhile, Lu Wuyao was watching his daughter and Kong Wudao exchange what he perceived as affectionate looks. He was convinced there was something going on between them, although he loved his daughter dearly and didn't want to give her away. That if Kong Wudao was interested, he'd support it wholeheartedly. After all, it's Kong Wudao, the god's son from the time-space restricted zone. If his daughter became his woman, even as a concubine, the whole Zixiao sect would benefit immensely. Everyone would rise up. Are you Lu Qingqing? Kong Wudao finally spoke, his voice cold and emotionless. I hear Yun Xiao was your best friend and you were really close. Many in the Zixiao sect were surprised by these words, exchanging confused glances, unsure of Kong Wudao's intentions, but Lu Qingqing's heart skipped a beat, a sense of dread washing over her. Still, she suppressed the unsettling feeling and nodded. Yes, Yun Xiao and I are lifelong friends. He's my best friend. She already admired Yun Xiao and wouldn't deny it. Lu Wuya's face darkened. Was his daughter an idiot? Yun Xiao was just the holy son of the Chaos Holy Land. And the Chaos Holy Land had already surrendered to Kong Wudao. Instead of seizing the opportunity to get closer to Kong Wudao, what was she doing declaring her loyalty to Yun Xiao? Is that so? A playful smile crept onto Kong Wudao's lips as he looked down at Lu Qingqing. Unfortunately, Yun Xiao was just executed by my godson for offending him. Now, as his best friend, do you want to avenge him? From his previous encounter between Yi Chen and Yun Xiao, he knew these three had close relationships. After all, that idiot Yun Xiao got himself involved for Yi Chen. Likewise, Lu Qingqing likely harbored inexplicable feelings, maybe even admiration, for Yun Xiao. Her tone showed she valued Yun Xiao when he tested her. It was obvious to everyone. Revealing that he killed Yun Xiao would be a huge emotional blow, potentially turning her into an enemy through emotional breakdown. Wouldn't that be the perfect reason to pressure the Zixiao sect? Simultaneously, the Zixiao sect members were stunned into silence. Yun Xiao of the Chaos Holy Land was famous throughout the Beixian Dao domain, having awakened the legendary chaos body, his life story was filled with glorious legends. He was destined to reach the top of the universe and become one of the strongest. But now, he was dead before even leaving the Beixian Dao domain. Killed by Kong Wudao. Why would he kill Yun Shao? What did you say? Lu Qingqing's mind reeled, his brain short-circuiting, pupils shrinking to pinpricks. She had suspected something had happened to Yun Shao, but hearing it from Kong Wudao himself shattered her composure. Her soul took a massive hit, and she swayed, on the verge of collapse. Ding! Destiny heroine Lu Qingqing detected. Due to the master's actions, her mind has been severely damaged and she is on the verge of collapse. 1,500 destiny points deducted, leaving 5,500 points. Congratulations! You triggered a double critical hit, gaining 3,000 destiny points. Kong Wudao's lips curled slightly. He was right, there was something between Lu Qingqing and Yun Shao. It was a big deal too, as hearing of Yun Zhao's death sent her to the brink of collapse. This confirmed his suspicions about his trip. It showed a Yandra-leaning clinginess. Letting Lu Qingqing go would only lead to her turning her grief into hatred and seeking revenge. He didn't care about that, but it was annoying, so he had to nip this possibility in the bud. Meanwhile, Lu Wuya sensed something was wrong with his daughter. She was in despair, her aura chaotic, and on the verge of going berserk. This frightened him but also made him realize a terrifying possibility. Kong Wudao's arrival combined with his words. Wasn't this all about his daughter? Qingqing, calm down. Don't do anything rash. Lu Wuya's words momentarily snapped Lu Qingqing out of her emotional turmoil. She wanted to kill Kong Wudao to avenge her beloved, but she was the daughter of the Zixiao Sect leader and had to consider the entire sect. Attacking Kong Wudao publicly would bring disaster upon them. Lu Qingqing clenched her teeth and continued to use the Jingxin technique to barely control her breath. What's with that look on your face? Kong Jiangyue and Kong Xianyang were furious, erupting with terrifying auras. How dare you be so disrespectful in front of the Wudao godson? Boom! The pressure was immense, shaking the very space around them. My lords, please forgive her. My daughter is ignorant and has offended the Son of God. Please forgive her. Lu Wuya instantly stepped in front of Lu Qingqing, bowing humbly. Forgive us, Lord Son of God. The other members of the Zixiao sect also pleaded for mercy. Everyone was sweating, horrified, and terrified. Lu Qingqing almost went crazy when she heard Yun Shao was killed by Kong Wudao. It looked like she was about to attack Kong Wudao directly. Did she think she had lived too long and wanted to take the Zixiao sect down with her? Chapter 66 Killing people at will based on their status. It #039, S really okay. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing that, Kong Wudao arched an eyebrow. He honestly hadn't expected her to keep it together as well as she did. Still, the final outcome was about what he predicted. The raw emotion Lu Qingqing displayed telegraphed exactly how pissed she was about Yun Zhao's death. Kong Wudao lifted a hand, signaling his entourage of emperor's sons to dial back the pressure. He said with a grin, well. Seems Miss Qingqing's a little miffed about this son of God offing Yun Shao. Lord Shenzi, Qingqing was just speaking out of turn, and Lu Wuya started to say, but Kong Wudao's gaze cut him off mid-sentence. Even though Lu Wuya was a holy lord-level cultivator, Kong Wudao's eyes made him flinch and shut his trap. Having silenced Lu Wuya, Kong Wudao turned his attention back to Lu Qingqing. This time, the smile vanished, and his whole vibe shifted. I'll ask you again, are you unhappy that I took out Yun Shao? As he spoke, an invisible wave of pressure radiated from Kong Wudao, sending the temperature plummeting. Even powerful god kings and saints felt a knot of fear tighten in their chests. It was like a sword hung over their heads, ready to drop at any moment. Lu Qingqing, at the epicenter of it all, felt the pressure tenfold. The killing intent and rage that had consumed her just moments ago receded like a tide, replaced by icy dread. Qingqing. What are you waiting for? Lu Wuya's voice, a mix of horror and anger, echoed in Lu Qingqing's mind. Get down on your knees and apologize to the Wudao god's son, now. Hearing that, Lu Qingqing was taken aback. then her heart broke. She'd always been her father's pride and joy, now, for some outsider, he was ready to have her grovel. And she hadn't even done anything wrong. Yun Xiao was someone she respected, a close friend. Why should she feel guilty for wanting justice? Seeing that Lu Qingqing didn't move, Lu Wuya sent another angry message. Qingqing. What are you trying to pull? Do you want the entire Zixiao sect to be wiped off the map for a deadbeat like Yun Xiao, for a corpse? Those words struck a nerve, hitting Lu Qingqing right where it hurt. He wasn't a deadbeat, Lu Qingqing roared, snapping her head up, eyes bloodshot, face contorted with rage. Why? Why did you kill him? Just because you're the son of God from the time and space restricted area, you think your status gives you a free pass to do whatever you want, to just kill people on a whim? You monster. You'll get what's coming to you. Memories of every moment with Yun Xiao, the two of them silhouetted against the setting sun, flooded back, and her pent-up anger and murderous intent exploded. All reason was lost in a haze of hatred. Yun Xiao was a somebody, he could have been on top of the world. And now, he was dead at Kong Wudao's hand. He hadn't even left Beixian Dao domain. How could he rest in peace with that? And she just wanted justice for him. What was so wrong with that? After Lu Qingqing's outburst, the world went still, especially the cultivators from Zixiao Sect, who never saw that coming. Their brains short-circuited, pupils shrunk, and their souls nearly leaped out of their bodies. Kong Wudao, unperturbed, just smiled a little wider. Oh. Just because I'm the son of God from the time and space restricted area, I can do whatever I want and kill people on a whim, huh? Kong Wudao shook his head, still smiling, and pulled a decree token from his robes, tossing it into the air. The token flashed with light, a massive wave of imperial power surged forth, blanketing the entire Zixiao sect. The overwhelming imperial decree, a sight the people of Beixian Dao domain thought they'd seen the last of, reappeared. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I actually can. Before anyone from the Zixiao sect could react, Kong Wudao's voice boomed through the heavens. I, Kong Wudao, in the name of the Son of God of the Forbidden Zone, hereby request heavenly punishment upon the Zixiao sect. Boom. The instant he finished speaking, the imperial decree in the sky above Zixiao sect blazed, and a colossal wave of imperial power washed over everything. The entire Beixian Dao domain was swathed in imperial might, and even the law runes trembled. What is that? As the decree completely shattered, a towering figure, embodying the very fabric of the universe and capable of suppressing all things, stepped out of the fractured space. It was an emperor's avatar. A great emperor, the apex of power in all the heavens and realms. Beneath an emperor, everyone was an ant. An emperor's wrath meant rivers of blood. Even a mere avatar of a great emperor possessed the power to obliterate worlds. No one in Beixian Dao domain expected an emperor's avatar to show up, of all places, here. Then, to everyone's horror, the avatar unleashed a cataclysmic surge of imperial power, raising its hand and slamming it down toward the Zixiao sect below. Boom! The divine hand, made of pure imperial power, became an eternal mountain, blotting out the sky. As the hand descended, the sky was torn asunder, spiderwebbing into countless dark cracks. All living things under that hand were insignificant, powerless to resist. At the same time, the ancestral lands of Zixiao sect erupted with light. Two ancient patriarchs at the 9th level of the Supreme Realm manifested together, unleashing their own divine power. They desperately tried to withstand the blow, all while crying out in terror. Please, Son of God, have mercy. We didn't mean to offend you. We surrender. Please, spare us. Boom. Countless Zixiao cultivators poured everything they had into activating the sect's defenses, trying to survive the onslaught. But there was no turning back now. Boom. Under the destructive palm, the Zixiao sect's strongest fighters were shattered like paper. Even the two patriarchs, Zixiao's pride and joy, were nothing more than pawns before the emperor's decree. No. Amidst the desperate screams, the colossal palm slammed into the heart of the Zixiao sect. Chapter 67, The Terrifying Image, the Zixiao Sect is destroyed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. It was like a meteorite had just slammed into the planet, a blinding flash of divine light washed over everything, turning the world a stark, pure white. The shockwave ripped outward from where the palm struck, heading straight for Zixiao Sect. Countless monks and their ornate temples simply vaporized, like frost melting in the sun. The Zixiao Sect elders who'd come to greet Kong Wudao were caught completely off guard by his attack. Even far from ground zero, they were tossed around like rag dolls by the force of the blast. Kong Wudao, however, had deployed a special divine card that conjured a protective barrier, completely shielding him and his entourage from the raging storm of energy. Time seemed to stand still, the earth-shattering roar faded, and the survivors in Beixian domain slowly regained their senses. Then, they looked toward where Zixiao Sect had stood and froze. Speechless with shock, the sky above the sect was shredded and warped, as if it had been melted by some unimaginable force. Even with the Emperor's decree gone, the air still crackled with residual energy, a terrifying reminder of what had just happened. A half-step quasi-emperor choked out, his voice trembling, "Is this the power of a true emperor?" Most modern cultivators had only glimpsed the faintest shadow of an emperor. None had ever witnessed one in action. To see such utter devastation firsthand sent chills down their spines. The monks from Chaos Holy Land were especially shaken. That emperor's decree had to have been summoned by Kong Wudao. After all, they'd been threatened with it just recently, but no one expected Kong Wudao to unleash it so casually in Beixian domain. Fear mixed with awe filled their hearts. If their ancestors hadn't had the foresight to surrender Chaos Holy Land to Kong Wudao, they would have been reduced to ashes by now. We really owe it all to our ancestors. Even the ancient ancestor of Xuanhuan and the other elders of Chaos Holy Land felt a surge of relief. They had surrendered just in time. Otherwise, they would be dead. Meanwhile, where the Phantom Emperor's palm had struck, Zixiao Sect was gone, swallowed by a gaping void. Every member of the sect was dead except for the elders who'd accompanied Lu Wuya to welcome Kong Wudao. Zixiao Sect, one of Beixian domain's leading powers, was wiped off the map. Looking at the massive crater before him, Kong Wudao grinned. Now that's what I call fireworks. Back at Chaos Holy Land, he'd planned to use the Emperor's decree on the whole place after dealing with Yun Shao, but Emperor Huntian, the founder of Chaos Holy Land, had thrown a wrench in the works by surrendering unexpectedly. He'd missed his chance for a grand finale. Now, with a new opportunity at hand, he wasn't about to let it slip away. Sure, using an Emperor's decree on such a weak sect was overkill. But as a chosen one from the Forbidden Zone, he had more Emperor's decrees than he knew what to do with. Cough, cough. A series of pained coughs broke the silence. The surviving Zixiao Sect elders, thrown by the energy blast, struggled to their feet amidst the rubble. Many hadn't survived the shockwave. Lu Wuya and Lu Qingqing were among the lucky ones, only suffering minor injuries. How could this? Lu Wuya stumbled through the wreckage and stared at the crater that used to be his sect. His face drained of color, and he collapsed. Zixiao Sect is gone. His once great sect, with its countless temples and millions of disciples, was reduced to nothing in a single moment, leaving only a handful alive. Lu Qingqing sat paralyzed, staring blankly at the void, her mind shattered. Ding. System detects that the host has destroyed the sect of a daughter of destiny. Destiny points deducted by 2,500, leaving 2,000 points. Congratulations to the host for triggering a double critical hit and gaining 5,000 destiny points. Kong Wudao smirked. The destruction of Zixiao Sect had clearly hit Lu Qingqing hard, triggering such a large destiny point deduction. He approached her, looking down with a faint smile. "Oh, dear, I really didn't want to hurt Zixiao Sect. But Miss Qingqing insisted on calling me a heartless demon, so I was left with no choice." "Are you satisfied with the results, Miss Qingqing?" Lu Qingqing's eyes narrowed, and she trembled with rage. Lu Wuya snapped out of his daze and shouted, "Qingqing! No!" Having witnessed his sect's destruction, Lu Qingqing lost control of her rage and forgot her father's warnings. "Kong Wudao! I'll kill you!" A wave of terrifying energy erupted from her body. No longer the beautiful woman from before, Lu Qingqing looked like a vengeful ghost, thirsting for blood, but Kong Wudao didn't even lift a finger. One of the emperor's sons closest to him acted swiftly. Chains of divine energy shot through the air, instantly binding Lu Qingqing. At the same time, Shadow Yen Supreme emerged from the shadows, suppressing Lu Wuya and any other elder who might interfere. Kong Wudao. You monster! Let my father go! Lu Qingqing screamed, but before Kong Wudao could respond, another angry voice boomed, You ungrateful brat! Why are you still putting on this act? Lu Wuya, pinned to the ground, finally unleashed his rage. If you weren't so stupid and stubborn, and hadn't offended the Son of God for that dead nobody Yunxiao, none of this would have happened to Zixiao Sect. Chapter 68, Father and Daughter Turn Against Each Other. Will it dare on this day? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though people say Kong Wudao issued the emperor's decree to wipe out the Zixiao Sect, the real reason was still his airhead daughter. She'd offended Kong Wudao multiple times for Yunxiao, a dead guy. Her father always tried to get her to apologize to Kong Wudao, but she always blew him off. Now, things had gone too far, and she still dared to attack Kong Wudao without thinking. This wasn't just about destroying the Zixiao Sect, but completely extinguishing its legacy. Lu Qingqing was in total disbelief when she heard her father, who'd always treated her like gold, now calling her a rebellious brat and a wicked beast. Father, you. Shut your mouth. I don't have a daughter as clueless as you. I poured everything into training you for years. I wanted you to be my successor at the Zixiao Sect. But now, you've killed the entire sect because of some dead guy. Is this how you repay me? I should have strangled you at birth. Lu Qingqing was stunned, then felt a wave of grief and tears welled up, but her eyes still flashed with a heroine's stubbornness. All I wanted was justice for Yunxiao. What's so wrong with that? Kong Wudao was the tyrant who killed Yunxiao and destroyed our Zixiao sect. He's the one to blame for everything. You. Her words made Lu Wuya even angrier, his eyes turned red. He wanted to kill his idiotic daughter right then and there. Even now, she still couldn't grasp the situation and insisted she was right. You wicked beast. You're nothing but trouble. Seeing the father and daughter having a domestic squabble, Kong Wudao was a bit surprised at first, then his smile became more amused. On the surface, Lu Wuya was blaming Lu Qingqing for being brainless, but he was also trying to distance himself from her. He wanted to tell Kong Wudao that her actions had nothing to do with him. He was hoping Kong Wudao would show mercy and spare his life, saving the last vestige of the Zixiao sect, but, given Kong Wudao's ruthless nature, once he started, there was no turning back. Alright, that's enough fighting. Kong Wudao's words cut them off. The arguing father and daughter stopped and looked at him, terrified. Kong Wudao's eyes landed on Lu Wuya first. Lu Wuya paled and kowtowed to Kong Wudao. This really has nothing to do with us. Please, Son of God, have mercy. Spare the last flame of the Zixiao sect. Lu Wuya wasn't young and reckless like Lu Qingqing, so he understood the situation. Even though he hated Kong Wudao for destroying the Zixiao sect, he couldn't show it. Otherwise, he'd be dead. But Kong Wudao knew what he was thinking without having to guess, so what if he was hiding it? He had no intention of letting him off the hook anyway. Ha! As they say, if the son doesn't learn, the father is to blame. Since Lu Qingqing is your daughter, you, as her father, should pay for her offending me. Kong Wudao made a cutting motion across his neck. Yen Supreme, who was hiding in the shadows, understood instantly and unleashed his killing intent on Lu Wuya. Boom! A giant axe made of shadow energy materialized instantly, infused with the power of the Supreme, and slammed into Lu Wuya. There was a sickening sound of flesh and blood exploding, and Lu Wuya was turned into a mist of blood before he could even scream. Father! Seeing this, Lu Qingqing cried out in despair. Even though they'd had their problems, seeing her father die because of Kong Wudao, Lu Qingqing couldn't help feeling overwhelming grief. But even now, she wouldn't admit or accept that any of this was her fault. It's all your fault. All your fault. Lu Qingqing roared. Kong Wudao. You're worse than an animal. You're a tyrant. You'll get what's coming to you. Ignoring her rage, Kong Wudao remained calm. He shook his head with a smile, walked over to Lu Qingqing, grabbed her by the neck, and lifted her up. Kong Wudao showed no mercy. He choked her so hard she could barely breathe. Boom! A terrifying devouring power erupted from Kong Wudao's body and invaded Lu Qingqing's body, draining the blood of the holy body of enlightenment from her veins. Ha! Lu Qingqing, let's be honest. I never planned to attack your Zixiao sect in the first place, and I wouldn't have even bothered with you. But thanks to you, my interest was piqued. So, you're the one responsible for the destruction of the Zixiao sect, ding. It was detected that Lu Qingqing was feeling guilty and remorseful, and 500 of the opponent's destiny points were deducted, leaving 1,500 points. Congratulations to the master for triggering a triple critical hit and gaining 1,500 destiny points. Hearing this, Kong Wudao's smile widened. Lu Qingqing had always been stubborn and hard-headed. She always believed she was right. Now, facing death, she was finally breaking down in fear. But he didn't care what she thought. He had to squeeze every last drop of value out of her. As Kong Wudao increased his power, all the blood of the holy body of enlightenment was drained from Lu Qingqing. Ding! It is detected that the master draws the blood of the holy body of enlightenment, and destroys Lu Qingqing, the daughter of destiny, gaining 1,000 destiny points, while the opponent has 500 points left. After extracting all the blood, Kong Wudao smiled again. You said earlier that I kill people on a whim and that I'd be punished by God. Well, what do you think now? Does it dare punish me? Hearing this, Lu Qingqing, already weak, felt her heart sink, and a wave of fear washed over her, but Kong Wudao didn't waste any more time on her. Since you're so hung up on that dead boyfriend of yours, I'll send you to join him. Boom! A scorching green flame erupted from Kong Wudao's palm and engulfed Lu Qingqing, turning her into a human torch. Ha! Lu Qingqing, thrown to the ground by Kong Wudao, didn't die instantly. She writhed in agony as the flames consumed her. But Kong Wudao didn't bother to look back. Honestly, Lu Qingqing was the most repulsive person he'd ever met. She was like some holier-than-thou martyr. He couldn't believe someone could be so foolish and so self-righteous. She risked everyone's lives for a dead man and even provoked him in such a stupid way. If he crushed such a dirty insect with his own hands, he'd feel like he needed to wash them. Ding! Congratulations to the master for hunting down the destiny heroine Lu Qingqing and obtaining the remaining 500 destiny points. Congratulations to the master for successfully triggering a double critical hit and successfully obtaining 1,000 destiny points. Chapter 69, The Divine Dynasty is in Chaos, and the Man of Destiny comes back from the dead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not long after Kong Wudao and his crew bounced, beams of light cautiously descended from the horizon, landing on the massive sinkhole. As the halos faded, powerful figures from the Beixian Dao domain materialized. Whoa! Everyone who saw the breathtaking scene below felt a chill crawl up their spines. The Zixiao sect's former location had completely transformed into a bottomless sinkhole. Even with the Emperor's phantom gone, the lingering imperial power still radiated a terrifying aura. The Zixiao sect had been a cornerstone of the Beixian Dao domain for generations, but instead of falling to an invading force, it was wiped out by a boneheaded imperial decree, reduced to ashes. The thought made many of the assembled powerhouses tremble. They instinctively glanced in the direction Kong Wudao had taken, murmuring, "The heavens and realms are about to flip." With the Beixian Dao domain behind him, Kong Wudao wasn't quite ready to head back to the time-space restricted zone. He produced a piece of exquisitely crafted divine jade. Inscribed on it were 4 golden, ancient characters radiating vast Taoist energy: Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty. Xia Chuli, the heroine of destiny, time for a meet and greet. He had already started the taming process with Xia Chuli, but the final score depended on her performance. If she got any funny ideas or wasn't cooperative enough, he just torched the Sun and Moon Dynasty during this little trip. As the god Sun from the time-space restricted zone, he didn't sweat consequences. He just needed to get his kicks. With that in mind, Kong Wudao mounted the Apocalypse Xuanhuan, leading several top-tier emperors from the time-space restricted zone toward the Huanghai Dao domain, home of the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty. The Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty was a dominant power in the wild Wu Dao domain. Rumor had it that a powerful emperor slumbered in their ancestral lands, controlling vast territories, but things have been crazy turbulent lately for the Sun and Moon Dynasty. Just days ago, Chu Tian, the legitimate son of Duke Xuanhuan, who was supposedly dead and buried for treason, had inexplicably come back to life. Somehow, he'd managed to get a bunch of border princes and kings to join his rebellion. Caught completely off guard, Chu Tian had seized huge chunks of Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty territory, sowing panic and chaos. Inside the Sun and Moon God Palace's main hall, the dynasty's top ministers and generals had gathered. "Your Majesty, that traitor Chu Tian is coming on strong. The northern fortress and Tian Valley have fallen one after the other, and his army is breathing down Beiliang's neck. If Beiliang falls, the entire northern territory of our dynasty is likely to end up in this traitor's hands. But we're tapped out. 12 out of the 18 princes and kings are Chu Tian's plants. The East Wasteland and West Desert are getting hammered by rebels too. We're spread too thin. Your Majesty, please. Let me lead 100,000 imperial troops to take the fight to these rebels." Listening to the ministers and generals below, Xuanhuan, the leader of the Sun and Moon Dynasty, sitting on the dragon throne, was fighting a killer headache. He just couldn't wrap his head around how Chu Tian, who'd been iced along with the entire Xuanhuan Duke's family, had suddenly popped back up. How had he gotten so many princes and kings to turn on them? Why were so many troops signing up to fight for him? His dynasty had plenty of heavy hitters, but this war was playing out in their own backyard. If someone too strong threw down, the fallout would devastate everything. It could even fatally damage the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty's home turf, causing it to shatter completely. And on top of everything, Chu Tian, the mastermind, had vanished into thin air after sending out that cryptic challenge. If their territory got flattened and they still couldn't find him, they'd really be screwed. So, they had to play Chu Tian's game and fight with regular armies, keeping the big guns out of it. Send word to champion Ho Zhang Wuji. He's to abandon the East Wasteland reinforcements and head north immediately to crush the Beiliang rebellion. Zhang Wuji was hands down the most brilliant general the Sun and Moon Dynasty had. In a straight-up fight between armies, Zhang Wuji was their best bet to turn things around. The Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty, the region of northern Liang. High up on Tongtian Mountain, bathed in moonlight, sat a handsome man with a black robe and sword-like eyebrows, seated before a chessboard. On the board, black stones encircled white stones on all sides. "Huh, Chu Tian, your talent is really something else." A raspy voice chuckled, "Whether it's cultivation or chess, calligraphy, and painting, you've got it in spades." The voice came from someone seated across from Chu Tian. This someone, well, calling him a someone was a stretch. It was a pitch-black skeleton stripped bare of flesh and blood, radiating a weird aura. Especially the two scarlet flames burning in his dark eyes, giving off an even more terrifying vibe. This skeleton was no slouch. He was the imperial uncle of King Xuanhuan. He'd lost the throne fight to Xuanhuan's grandfather and been banished from the royal family. For countless epochs, he'd toiled relentlessly, pouring his heart and soul into the road to undeath. Finally, he'd ditched his body and become a worldly emperor. The undead emperor specialized in the legendary and twisted art of raising the dead, able to summon undead creatures to fight for him. In other words, the undead emperor didn't need to burn through resources to raise his own imperial army. He just needed to tap into his imperial powers and summon the dead, an endless stream of bone soldiers and undead creatures energized with raw power. He was an army unto himself. Senior overpraises me. Without your help, Senior, I wouldn't know how to take vengeance on the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty. Chu Tian's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He'd been the proud and powerful eldest son of Xuanhuan Duke's mansion, running the show in the Sun and Moon Dynasty, but their military successes in conquering the country had made them seem too big for their britches, overshadowing even the royal family. The dynasty's top dogs had decided to clip their wings. They'd sent in a horde of supremely powerful dudes to wipe out the entire Xuanhuan Duke's family. The entire palace had gone all out to help Chu Tian escape, but he'd still been dogged by the dynasty's top dogs. Desperate, he'd been forced to jump into the Sun and Moon Dynasty's forbidden zone, the burial abyss of the dead. Everyone, including Chu Tian, thought he was toast, but driven by his powerful unwillingness and rage before death, Chu Tian had fallen into the abyss and gotten a twisted blessing. He'd sucked up tons of undead energy in the undead burial abyss. He'd also gotten a boost from the undead emperor, who was hiding deep down. He'd awakened a netherworld undead body, also known as the King of the Undead. This physique was perfect for the undead emperor's powers. To pay back his grudge with the Sun and Moon God dynasty, the undead emperor had taught him everything he knew. He'd even stepped up to be Chu Tian's backer, just to work with him to take down the Sun and Moon dynasty that they both hated. Chapter 70 The Only Value, The Few Fun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright, the first step of our plan is complete, the undead emperor said. Chu Tian asked, should we move on to step 2? Hold your horses, the undead emperor cautioned. Rushing things could backfire. Remember, there are still 2 powerful emperors lurking within the Sun and Moon dynasty. He continued, we need to seize more territory from them. The current emperor likely doesn't want to see his realm ravaged, which gives us leverage. He understood the Sun and Moon dynasty's concerns perfectly. This wasn't his country, after all. He didn't care if it suffered. The Sun and Moon dynasty, however, was deeply invested. This gave them the upper hand. Just then, a streak of light descended, landing before Chu Tian. He knelt on one knee, bowing respectfully before the undead emperor. Reporting in. Our scouts say champion Ho Zhang Wuji is leading an army of 300,000 toward our front lines. Chu Tian's eyebrows shot up. Champion Ho Zhang Wuji, the so-called youngest war god of the Sun and Moon dynasty. Let me handle this. The champion, Chu Tian volunteered. As the eldest son of the Duke of Xuanhuan, he'd mastered the art of war and was a skilled commander. If the old emperor hadn't destroyed his family, he was certain he'd be the one hailed as a champion. Now, he wanted to see if this champion could measure up to him. Granted, the undead emperor said. Chu Tian departed immediately, eager to lead his army and clash with the champion head-on. Watching Chu Tian leave, the undead emperor smirked. Haha, after all this time you're still so easily led. When everything is settled, your body will be mine. His goal wasn't just to topple the Sun and Moon dynasty, he also wanted a new body. This skeletal form was constant torment, and Chu Tian was the perfect vessel. Meanwhile, in the main hall of the Sun and Moon dynasty, Xuanhuan and his ministers, preparing to retreat, suddenly sensed something. They all felt a terrifying power descending upon their lands. That aura. Xia Chuli, who had met Kong Wudao, instantly recognized it. She knew, without a doubt, that this power was extraordinary. Father. It's Kong Wudao. He's arrived in our Sun and Moon dynasty. Xia Chuli's exclamation stunned the court. Kong Wudao, the most revered figure among the younger generation in the time and space restricted area, had inexplicably descended upon them. Snapping out of their shock, Xuanhuan rose quickly. Alert the guards. Lower all defenses. They must not offend the son of Wu Dao. Everyone, come with me. We'll greet him in person immediately. That the rebellion was completely forgotten, they could deal with that later. Offending Kong Wudao, however, was a risk they couldn't take. Even the Sun and Moon dynasty wouldn't be able to save them from the consequences. Above the Sun and Moon dynasty, the army, receiving the emperor's orders, parted to allow Kong Wudao passage. As he approached, countless soldiers bowed respectfully. Greetings, son of God Wudao. Such a display surprised Kong Wudao. Judging by their battle-hardened demeanor, they were clearly heading to war. This wasn't simply a welcoming party. Could it be the Sun and Moon dynasty is at war? Before he could dwell on it, a booming voice echoed from the horizon. The son of God Wudao has arrived. I, of the Sun and Moon dynasty, welcome you. Forgive us for our poor welcome. In a flash, streams of light descended. Xuanhuan, leading a retinue of high-ranking officials, landed before Kong Wudao. Xuanhuan was taken aback. Even his mount was a saint-level dragon king, an apocalypse azure dragon. What was even more striking was his youthful vigor, yet he carried himself like a god among mortals, possessing an otherworldly grace. Even as an emperor, Xuanhuan couldn't help but feel inferior. He quickly bowed again with his ministers. Xuanhuan, leader of the Sun and Moon dynasty, welcomes the son of Wu Dao. We humbly greet you. Lord Son of God. Xia Chuli's heart pounded as she looked at Kong Wudao. Is he here to keep his promise? He had previously promised to visit her Sun and Moon palace. Yes, Kong Wudao nodded. Though, your armies seem to be in preparation. Is war imminent? Xuanhuan wanted to avoid airing his dirty laundry. He laughed. A minor matter, hardly worth mentioning. I implore you to forgive me. A banquet has been prepared for your grand arrival, if you would accept this humble act of hospitality. Kong Wudao didn't pry further, as Xuanhuan led the way toward the imperial city with the geniuses of the time and space restricted area. The system's voice chimed in, ding. Another source of destiny power has been detected, in addition to the destined heroine Xia Chuli. Location pinpointed, Sun and Moon dynasty, the northern Liang region. Kong Wudao's eyebrows rose slightly. So, there was another protagonist in the Sun and Moon dynasty. This is getting interesting. Deducing from the system's information, he mused, it seems the mobilization of the armies is likely connected to this other destined individual. After all, every destined person was a unique talent chosen by fate. It was no surprise he was stirring up trouble in the Sun and Moon dynasty, but it didn't bother him. This person's only value was providing a bit of amusement.